What separates the men who command attention from those who fade into the background? What makes certain individuals so magnetically compelling that rooms shift when they enter, conversations pause, and eyes follow their every move? Tonight we're diving deep into the shadowy realm of masculine magnetism, those 7 psychological triggers that transform ordinary men into forces of irresistible attraction. This isn't about pickup lines or surface-level tricks. This is about the fundamental architecture of power, the dark psychology that has driven human attraction since the dawn of civilization. You see, throughout history, certain men have possessed an almost supernatural ability to captivate others, from the enigmatic philosophers of ancient Greece to the calculated charm of modern titans of industry. These individuals understood something most men never discover. Attraction isn't an accident, it's a science. The women who encounter these high-value men don't just notice them, they become obsessed. They find themselves drawn like moths to a flame, unable to explain the pull they feel. It's not just physical attraction, it's something deeper, more primal, more dangerous. But here's what most men don't realize. This magnetism isn't reserved for the genetically gifted or the naturally charismatic. It's a code that can be cracked, a formula that can be learned, a power that can be cultivated by any man willing to embrace the darker aspects of human psychology. The 7 characteristics we're about to explore aren't just personality traits, they're psychological weapons. Each one taps into something fundamental in the female psyche, something that bypasses logic and strikes directly at the emotional core. These aren't the qualities your mother told you women wanted. These are the qualities that actually create obsession, devotion, and unshakable attraction. Warning, what you're about to discover will change how you see yourself and how others see you. Once you understand these principles, you can't unsee them. You'll recognize them everywhere, in the men who effortlessly command respect, in the leaders who inspire unwavering loyalty, in the individuals who seem to live by different rules entirely. Are you ready to unlock the dark arts of masculine magnetism? Are you prepared to discover what truly makes a man irresistible? Then let's begin this journey into the psychology of high-value attraction. In the smoky jazz clubs of the 1950s Manhattan, there was a type of man who commanded attention without saying a word. His presence alone shifted the energy of the room, drawing eyes like moths to a flame. This wasn't coincidence. It was the manifestation of silent command, the first pillar of masculine magnetism that separates high-value men from the masses. Silent command begins with your relationship to space. Notice how most men apologize for their existence through their posture. Shoulders hunched inward, eyes darting for approval, bodies contracted as if trying to disappear. The high-value man occupies space deliberately. He stands with shoulders back, not from arrogance, but from a deep knowing of his own worth. His movements are economical, purposeful, never rushed or seeking validation. The psychology behind this is rooted in evolutionary biology. Women's brains are wired to scan for signs of genetic fitness and social dominance. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, you're signaling to her subconscious that you're a man who can protect and provide. This isn't about flexing muscles or raising your voice. It's about the subtle art of energetic presence. Your voice becomes an instrument of influence. Speak 20% slower than feels natural. Let your words carry weight by giving them space to breathe. The man who speaks in measured tones, who pauses before responding, who doesn't feel compelled to fill every silence, this man demonstrates self-control and depth. Women are drawn to men who seem to possess secrets, who hint at depths unexplored. Eye contact is your most powerful weapon. Not the desperate stare of a hungry man, but the steady, knowing gaze of someone comfortable in his own skin. Hold her eyes long enough to create a moment of connection, then break away first. This creates a push-pull dynamic that keeps her wondering about your intentions. Your silence becomes magnetic when it's filled with purpose rather than anxiety. The high-value man doesn't need to prove himself through constant chatter. He listens more than he speaks, asks questions that reveal depth, and responds with insight rather than reaction. This creates an aura of mystery that draws people in. Physical stillness amplifies your presence. While others fidget, check their phones, or shift nervously, you remain centered. This stillness isn't lifelessness.
It's the calm confidence of a man who knows his worth and doesn't need external validation to confirm it. Practice the art of the meaningful pause. When asked a question, allow a moment of silence before responding. This demonstrates that you consider your words carefully, that you're not reactive or desperate to please. It also creates psychological tension that makes your eventual response more impactful. The man who masters silent command becomes a magnet for feminine energy. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't convince, he compels. He doesn't demand attention, he commands it through the sheer force of his grounded presence. This is the foundation upon which all other characteristics of masculine magnetism are built. In the golden age of Hollywood, leading men like James Dean and Marlon Brando possessed something that made women swoon worldwide: the perfect balance of emotional strength and carefully revealed vulnerability. They understood that true masculine magnetism isn't about being an emotional robot. It's about being a fortress with selective gates, only opening to those who prove worthy of entrance. The modern man faces a psychological battlefield. Society tells him to be more emotional, while his biology and millions of years of evolution have programmed him to be the oak tree in the storm. The high-value man navigates this paradox through strategic emotional intelligence, revealing depth without sacrificing strength. Your emotional baseline determines your magnetism. Women are drawn to men who remain calm under pressure, who don't react to every provocation or emotional test. This isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about emotional regulation. When chaos erupts around you, your steady presence becomes an anchor for others, particularly women who are naturally more emotionally expressive. The concept of emotional contagion plays a crucial role here. Emotions are literally contagious through mirror neurons in our brains. When you maintain emotional equilibrium, you're not just staying centered, you're creating a calming effect on everyone around you. Women unconsciously seek this emotional stability in potential partners, as it signals the ability to handle life's inevitable challenges. Strategic vulnerability is your secret weapon. Share your struggles, but frame them as conquests rather than defeats. Instead of saying, "I'm struggling with my business," try, "I'm building something that's testing every limit I thought I had." This reframing transforms potential weakness into demonstrated strength and resilience. Create emotional scarcity through selective sharing. Don't be the man who spills his entire life story on the first date. Reveal layers gradually, making each revelation feel like a privilege. This creates psychological investment. The more someone has to work to understand you, the more valuable they perceive you to be. Master the art of emotional aikido. When someone tries to trigger you, redirect their energy rather than absorbing it. If she tests you with drama or provocation, respond with calm curiosity rather than defensive reaction. "That's interesting. Why do you think you're feeling that way?" This response demonstrates emotional intelligence while maintaining your center. Your emotional vocabulary becomes a tool of influence. Instead of basic emotions, use precise language. Don't say you're angry, say you're concerned about the direction this is heading. This linguistic precision demonstrates emotional sophistication and creates a sense of depth that draws people in. The Stoic philosophy provides the framework for emotional mastery. Focus on what you can control, accept what you cannot, and have the wisdom to know the difference. This philosophical foundation creates an unshakable inner game that women find irresistibly attractive. Practice emotional leadership through your responses. When others become reactive, you remain responsive. When they escalate, you de-escalate. This positions you as the emotional leader in every interaction, a role that naturally creates attraction and respect. Picture the gentleman of the 1960s, impeccably dressed, surrounded by admirers, yet somehow untouchable. He possessed what modern psychology calls abundance mindset, the deep knowing that he had choices, options, and value beyond any single interaction. This wasn't arrogance, it was the magnetic pull of a man who understood his worth and wasn't afraid to walk away. Abundance begins in your mind before it manifests in your reality. The high-value man operates from a fundamental belief that opportunities, relationships, and experiences are infinite. This isn't positive thinking, it's strategic psychology. When you genuinely believe you have options, you stop clinging to outcomes, and this non-attachment becomes magnetically attractive to others. Your relationship to rejection transforms everything. Most men fear rejection so intensely that they compromise their authenticity to avoid it. The abundance-minded man views rejection as information, not judgment. When someone doesn't appreciate your value, you don't lower your standards, you find someone who does. This shift in perspective radiates through your energy and behavior. Create genuine options in your life. This isn't about manipulating multiple people, it's about building a rich, full existence that doesn't depend on any single source of validation. Develop multiple interests, cultivate diverse friendships, pursue various goals. When your happiness doesn't hinge on one person's approval, you become infinitely more attractive. The psychology of scarcity drives desire.